It's Talk Funny, a podcast by Mark Bailey and other comics from all over. We ended up in Japan because we are Emoji Challenge, the Talk Funny podcast from Nagoyaradio.com and Nagoyacomedy. Here's Mark Bailey.
Welcome back to another edition of Talk Funny. I'm Mark Bailey. We're here again with our guest, Chris. He has done an open mic with us a few times, been to quite a few of our shows. What are your impressions about the shows when you've seen us at Nagoyacomedy? Because we do once a month, we try to, and then something that's different than in most places that have a lot of comedy clubs, like on the East Coast, you could do the same act, which, Seinfeld, he only had about 20 minutes of material, or maybe an hour, but he did that hour in Pittsburgh, in Philadelphia, and in Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, you've got comedy, you've got Punchline, you've got Yuck Yucks, you've got all these clubs, probably in each city, at least 3 or 4 different clubs, and a lot of times 2 shows a night, and these are all different audiences. You can go to New Jersey, and you go to Long Island, and you go to Manhattan, and there's just, you can do that over and over and over again, the same routine, and you get different audiences, and you polish it. You do get better at that routine. But what we have to do here with the same Nagoya crowd, how do I put this delicately? The Nagoya expats are very stingy with their money about drinks, and they want 500 yen for a drink. I'm like, hey, have you been to New York, man? It's like $38 for a cocktail.
And 16 for a Pepsi. Or
and
Coke,
so we love our audience, but we have to keep them happy, and they basically demand that we have new stuff every month. When I invite people at some places, we have to sell tickets, and the first question is, I don't know, you doing new stuff this time? Yes, absolutely. We do new stuff. 100% new stuff. Say in some cases maybe it's 95% new stuff, but all new sets, and to write a new 10-minute set every month is very difficult.
Yeah, I don't know how you guys do it.
So I'm trying to, train the other guys to do that. And, what I say is you're going to thank me later if you ever go to the States. It's going to be so easy for you to come up with new material. People are going to wonder how you did it. Yeah. So what were your impressions?
Yeah, that's one thing that's always impressed me is that it's always new. Even if you're, doing observations of stuff that's happening in the news or anything, but still anything that's relevant or anything that's wrote because that it's something that's personal, or if it's something that's just an observation, it's not easy to do. That 10 minutes is a long time to write, even in a month's time. Yeah,
and we deal with hecklers a lot. I think I've kind of trained the crowd now to not heckle as much. We used to have it a lot worse, where we even had a venue owner who said, hey, if anything that comes to your mind, just shout it out.
Yeah.
I'm like, no. Remember what you didn't learn at Columbia School of Comedy? Remember when you weren't on stage with me at the Apollo in New York? What you didn't learn in 30 years of comedy? It's like, no, that's the last thing we want.
Yeah, like I remember even seeing Rodney Carrington.
Yeah,
he's hilarious. I've seen him in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
I've seen him in Chicago, and I've seen him in Los Angeles. And even though back then, when he was really big, I think he's maybe still touring. He's a really funny guy, and he might be promoting a new CD, or I don't know how he even push their comedy out now. But it was different. He might do the same songs and the same kind of bits, but he always had something else, and he made it almost directional towards where he was too. He's really good.
And Steve Hofstadter's a friend of mine. I met him in L.A. at the airport. We were all held over all night. We were all night there, and he had his dog and everything. He's really good at training the audiences. When he came into Osaka, and I saw him there, and there were, a bunch of drunk expats, and they were heckling him and stuff. And he said, if you've seen me on YouTube? And they're like, yeah. You see the part where I ream you if you heckle me. You saw that part, right? Yeah. And you still want to try that?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
People are like, well, you like it. And he goes, no, I don't like it. It's like swimming with sharks. You learn how to deal with sharks. You punch it in the face. Yeah. But I don't like sharks, so I don't like hecklers. And he was really good at training this. He goes, listen, if you want to ask a question, I do have question and answer at the end of the show. Yeah. And he goes, also, I'm selling my CDs and shirts at the back, and I will actually shake your hand and talk to you and take a picture with you, but I'm working here. Yeah, I'm up on stage.
Yeah. I don't walk into your office and disrupt you while you're doing a presentation. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of good heckle lines that I used to use here when we first got heckled, and I was still training the audience. But one of them is this is not mine, but a lot of people use it. It's something like, I don't go to McDonald's and knock the fries out of your hand when you're serving them to a customer, And there's some more lewd versions where, I don't go knock the lube out of your hand when you're giving a guy service, at your job. Or I don't knock the rectal thermometer out of your hand when you're working at the vet, with the animals. I don't knock semen out of your hand when you're busy at your day job. That kind of bull semen and things like that. And another one will be something like somebody blurts something out, and I'll say, hey, actually, thank you for that input, but, I actually prepared my set, and it didn't include you yelling shit out at me. Yeah. So
even though that most of the time you're prepared for it,
Yeah.
you're trained, you're there, you know what to say, or you could, it's quick responses. But even for all the other guys, they can do it too. But that's another thing that's not easy. Hecklers aren't. That's not what you're there for. You're there to listen and to enjoy it.
I've even had friends of mine say, yeah, but it helps the show. No, it doesn't. It really hurts the show. It doesn't help the show. It doesn't help anything. It's like, try that on an airplane. Stand next to the pilot, and I think you should go higher. I think you should go lower.
Yeah.
Why don't you put the brakes down? Why don't you get back in your seat and enjoy the ride?
Yeah.
Right? So,
you're doing it wrong. You're doing it wrong.
We were talking earlier about how clueless sometimes Japanese wives are about where money comes from. And you mentioned that you have acquaintances here in Japan that are rich, and as do I. And rich people, they inherit it from their family, and they're just clueless. I had a friend of my wife's who, he spotted me in Sakai, and he said, "What are you doing in Sakai?" I'm like, this morning I was in Seto. I said I was in 4 different cities today.
Yeah.
And I'm in Sakai. I'm still working. I'm running an errand I was collecting money from a comedy club. What are you doing here? I mentioned the comedy club, right? So
it's down the road.
Down the road, and that's what I'm doing. He's like, but I thought your office is a yabacho. Yeah, I rarely see my office. You think I just sit there and go, yes, answer the doorbell. Well, yes, we have a bag of money. Okay, bring it in. Just keep bringing the bags of money in. And he's clueless, and I said, what are you doing? He goes, I just bought a new car, and so I'm just driving it around. I'm like, we don't even live in the same planet.
Yeah.
We have completely different lives. It must be nice, but it's like, so I'm very cynical and jaded about rich people. It's like, well, while you were doing that, I was actually paying for this road with my taxes. And you weren't doing anything because you don't create income and you don't pay taxes because you just inherited it. But did you have experiences like that?
Yeah, like even just some personal friends. They have a wealthy family, and I just bought this iPad Pro just a few weeks ago, and I was carrying it around because I was actually doing some writing on it. I'm actually trying to journal, or sort of, it's kind of it's stress relieving, and doing some coloring even, which is funny. But he says, "Oh wow, it must be nice to afford that one." I go, "I'm paying like 3,000 yen a month onto my phone bill. It's actually not that much when you think about it, but I can't afford just to go out and spend 140,000 yen at one time like he can, because then, he has a Rolex watch. He has, the latest everything and the greatest everything, and buys a new car every 2 years because his parents give him the money to do it. I can't do that."
Yeah, this rich friend of ours, he'll call me up at 11 o'clock at night. I'm getting ready to go to bed. I'm getting up at 6:30 or something. He'll say, we're going out, get some chicken wings and beer and stuff. You want to come? I'm like, no, I got... He goes, what, you got something to do? Yeah, I have to sleep. Why are you sleeping? Because I have to get up in the morning.
Yeah.
Why do you have to do that? Well, first, the earth cooled. Do I have to explain? I said, I actually get paid for my time. And then if I don't give the employer time, I don't get money. That's how it works.
Yeah.
And I got a house loan that my Einstein wife talked me into paying, 30-year loan. So, yeah, in short, I have to be part of society, so I can't join you in your binges and stuff. He's like, well, but you'd have a good time. I'm like, yeah, I'm not saying I don't want to. I'm saying I can't. Do you understand?
Yeah.
And it's...
And I have another friend. He goes scuba diving like every week. He's working on his his master diving and technical diving. And I said, I already have all that. And he goes, well, why don't you come with me, and then you can help me. And it's only 40,000 yen for the course, and it's going to cost 10,000 yen to split a rental car and a hotel. And I said, I'm paying for my house and another house, and I'm also paying bills, and I also have to eat. I don't have that kind of money like you do. I'm sorry that your parents send you money from Canada. This guy's a foreigner, of course, now that I'm mentioning it. But, and, he works, and his whole paycheck is his to spend.
Right.
I can't do that. I'm sorry.
And this guy was looking at a brochure one time, this rich guy. He goes, hey, can you come to the U.S. with me for 2 weeks to negotiate on the price of this, some pickup truck? He wanted to get it sent to Japan.
Wow.
Well, I'm working, so I'd have to take time off. Actually needs to be worth my while. So He goes, well, you can't afford a ticket to go over there? I'm like, no, not for you. I go over there to see my family. I don't go over there for you. We're going to L.A., which I don't know anybody in L.A. We're going over there to California to buy you a car. I said, were you going to pay for the hotel or the trip or what? He goes, well, yeah, I guess I could pay for the hotel and the airfare. Okay, and then what about my time? I'm missing 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That's 2 weeks of salary that I don't get. And he's like, was it really that difficult? Yeah, I said, there's a reason people that work don't just get up and leave for 2 weeks to go over and, buy a car for someone.
Yeah, we have responsibilities.
And he's like, well, I just thought as a friend you would help me out. I'm like, Well, yeah, if I had rich family members like you did, I probably, time isn't worth that much. But for me, it's important.
And surprisingly, Nagoya is an industrial-type city, but you see people all the time driving around in Dodge Challengers and even like Toyota trucks from the States because, it's left-hand drive. And it's very surprising how many people in Nagoya actually have wealth. I see it every day.
Yeah, there's an area here called Keshta. I don't know why, but there's a lot of really nice cars. If you just walk through the neighborhoods, nice houses, nice cars, nice gardens. And I always joke with my fellow teachers, like, there aren't any English teachers in this whole neighborhood. So, nothing but Maseratis and Benz.
And Motoyama's the same way.
Yeah,
you see American Corvettes, of course, because it's an American car. I've seen Ferraris, and it's something else in Motoyama there.
I remember what I was going to mention. You mentioned, logging and writing a log and stuff. So I'm holding this blue memo pad, and this is the right size. It kind of fits in your pocket or your coat pocket. And when I have a bit, it'll just come to you, and I'll just write it down. When you have a bit or something that's funny, I write it down because it's only with me for about 8 seconds, and then it's gone. And
right.
Then the phone rings, and now it's gone.
That's the worst part about dreams, too. You had something that was funny or you thought of, and you want to remember. You wake up, and if you don't immediately write it down or record a memo, it's gone.
I have to take this blood pressure medicine, and this stuff gives me the worst dreams. And I just had a dream this morning, really vivid dreams, but really strange. The good part of it is, like, my ex-girlfriend is really, really hot in this dream. I mean, right now, the real ex-girlfriend has got 3 kids, and she's probably 210 pounds.
And then your wife's asking, why are you in the shower so long?
But in my dream, she's hot, and her friend is hot. But also, we're doing this thing where, I don't know, these mob guys are in the parking lot. This is just this dream. And I have this elevator where I'm really good at elevators, and I'm really good at escaping. If I can get on an elevator, that's my superpower. I can escape it because I know the buttons to push, and I can come down the stairs, and they don't know which floor I'm on. Really bizarre dream. And we're arguing about an empty soda can or something, and it's life or death. It's an empty soda can, and we're trying to figure out where it came from. And my ex-girlfriend is like, I know that the mob guy left it there as a signal. So we take it to a DNA lab. Finally, I wake up and this is ridiculous. And I wake up, and I'm sweating in a good way, too, as well. And it's like, let me look up my ex-girlfriend again. Maybe she is hot. And no, she's not. In my dream, she was super hot.
James Bond.
We're going to close this out, and this has been Talk Funny. You can reach us at AskPortJapan@yahoo.com. You can also ask Siri to play the podcast. Latest podcast of Talk Funny, Nagoyacomedy.com. I'm Mark. We're here with Chris, and we'll see you next week.